Welcome, my name is Nadine and I am the Special Collections Librarian at the Newark Public Library. And to celebrate National Library Week, I prepared this presentation which talks about the history of the library. The Newark Public Library traces its roots to the Newark Library Association, a private organization which was chartered in 1847. The organization required members to purchase shares of stock in order to utilize the collections. This building was located in Library Hall, which was on West Market Street. Here's an advertisement for Library Hall from a city directory from around 1872, and by that time it boasted 26,000 volumes. And as you can see here, a subscription for 1 year costs $3. A referendum passed, which then approved the founding of a free public library. So this new concept, it established the library, which was partially funded by taxpayer dollars. The first building was located on West Market Street, and so the library moved into this building in 1889. When it opened, it acquired the holdings, which consisted of about 10,000 volumes, which they took from the Newark Library Association. The first librarian, Frank P. Hill, introduced the concept of browsable stacks, which was a very innovative idea at the time, and he was very aware of the community's changing needs. The collection included city directories and books in foreign languages as a response to the city's changing demographics. Outreach also played a critical role. The library welcomed school visits, it distributed books by wagon to schools and to firehouses, and it even had delivery stations in stores. Miss Clara Whitehill, who was a librarian, she established an area that was specifically for children, which later became known as a children's room in public libraries. However, because during this time Newark was welcoming many immigrants, this building proved to be too small, and the library was just running out of space for materials and also for serving people. Property was purchased at what is now 5 Washington Street, and the architectural firm of Rankin and Kellogg of Philadelphia, who are prominent architects of the Beaux-Arts style, were hired to design a building at this location. It was modeled on a 4-story Italian Renaissance building known as the Palazzo Strozzi in Florence, Italy, from the 15th century. The cornerstone was laid in 1899, and the library was dedicated in 1901. It was the first large edifice to be built with public funds in Newark, and the building features many striking details on both its facade and throughout the interior. When you enter the building, you see decorative medallions, a frieze across the front, and a bronze relief over the doorway, which is added in 1901. Today, much of the interior remains preserved, although a large central marble staircase, which led visitors into the second floor, which you can see here in these photographs, was removed in 1952 and reconstructed at the back of the lobby. Visitors can still admire several of the library's original striking features, such as the stained glass lay light on the 4th floor and the oak-paneled reading room, which is now known as Centennial Hall, and the marble elements throughout the building. The year that the main library opened, Director Frank P. Hill accepted a position at the Brooklyn Public Library, so the trustees began looking for another director. So here is a floor plan, and I'll go over historic plans of all 4 floors. Just keep in mind that we were constantly evolving to meet community needs. So some of the rooms and departments stayed the same. Over the years, new departments were introduced, and rooms were constantly being relocated to best serve the public. So as you can see here on the 1st floor, the children's room remains in its original location. Where our cafe is now, that's what used to be the newspaper reading room. What's interesting is on the side of the library, there's an entrance that leads into the courtyard. Right near this entrance, there used to be a public bicycle check room. And here on the second floor, you can see that Centennial Hall was once the main reading room. And biography and fiction were located right where the reference room is right now, and where fiction is located across from the reference desk. On the third floor, where the New Jersey Information Center is located, that once comprised the art book room and the trustees room. And the reference room was located where the teen room is currently on the third floor, right near the Victoria Technology Center. And there are a few other rooms here, including the catalog room and staff lunchrooms, which are now part of the director's suite. And on the fourth floor, the auditorium was the lecture room, and the art gallery was located where administrative offices are now. John Cotton Dana, the library's second director, was progressive. He promoted education, business, and culture in the library. He purchased books for the blind, established a system of interlibrary loans, and he even developed a special color-coded filing system, which was later implemented by other libraries. He opened the first business library in the country on Academy Street in 1904. Dana bought a used printing press, and he used it to continuously advocate the various ways that Newarkers could be served by the library. This message was echoed on book plates, on posters, and on various publications, and even in book lists. In 1919, the library began offering service at St. Barnabas Hospital, and outreach later expanded to others. In 1930, a book truck delivered materials to children and to factories and homes which were located a far distance from the library. Although the service was discontinued during the Great Depression, by the mid-20th century, it was reinstated. By the 1970s, a van, which was called the Roving Reader, delivered books, movies, and records, as well as music and storytelling to underserved areas. This also was discontinued. John Cotton Dana believed that art facilitated learning, and he set out to stimulate an interest in the library's collection of art books and art in general. He began hosting exhibits at the library, and one early display, which was a show of 51 paintings that were lent by residents, brought over 32,000 visitors. The school department and the art department were established later on in 1907, and 2 years later, in 1909, Dana formed the Newark Museum Association, which was located on the fourth floor of the library, until the museum relocated to its new location in 1926. John Cotton Dana developed a picture collection which contained thousands of illustrations. By 1920, Newarkers who came into the library with their library-approved frames were able to borrow prints to hang in their homes. The library continues to develop a research-level collection of art-related books and organizes exhibits, several of which showcase fine art from its Special Collections Division. In 1906, the music division was established when a group of 48 Newarkers donated $511 to establish a department for the free circulation of music. The library began developing an outstanding collection of musical scores, literature, and phonographs, and it also offered a variety of classical concerts. By the 1950s, the library offered soundproof listening booths and a large collection of records, magazines, and foreign language records. Over the years, the library offered a variety of programs for the city's residents. For example, in 1941, a summer reading program for children was instituted. Other notable initiatives including reading improvement classes, travel programs, services to the homebound, books by mail, a war information center, a job information center, a homework hotline, a review discussion group, lecture series, and even a 15-minute radio show that described reference books. Here is a photograph of books that were purchased for immigrants. And to this day, the library continues services for job seekers. After John Cotton Dana's death in 1929, Beatrice Winser became the director. She continued Dana's vision by expanding outreach efforts, and she was very progressive and efficient. In 1907, the art department was formed, and so was the school department. Here is a picture of the school department, which provided reference service to teachers. In 1938, the library established a special collection of New Jersey materials, which is now known as the Charles F. Cummings New Jersey Information Center. This division indexed the Star Ledger, and it contains city directories, maps of Newark, obituaries, and much information related to Newark and New Jersey. In the mid-20th century, the Lions Club donated machines, which were called books on the ceiling machines, which were used for extension service to hospitals. The library served those with vision impairments and people who were hard of hearing. To this day, the Special Services Department continues this mission. The library even has a social worker on staff now. The African American Room was opened in 1989 and was named after the librarian James Brown. The room, which had been located on the first floor of the library, has recently been relocated to a much larger space on the second floor. The Sala Hispanoamericana also opened in 1989. It contains materials in Spanish and serves Spanish speakers and can be found on the first floor of the library. In 2001, the New Jersey Hispanic Research and Information Center was founded to document the state's growing Latino population. Today, the center contains the Puerto Rican Community Archive, which retains oral histories, newspapers, and many other archival collections. The LGBTQ Research Center was established in 2019 on the first floor of the main library. The room contains resources and offers community programs, book groups, social gatherings, displays, information centers, and many other types of programs. Informal branch service commenced in 1889 when the library supplied books to the city's high school. This was followed by supplying books to other rented spaces and also to the Clark Thread Company. The business library on Academy Street, which you can see here on the lower right of the slide, opened in 1904, and it was the first of its kind in the country. It was relocated in 1927 and then would later reopen on Commerce Street in 1944. Additional branches included those at department stores, which you can see here on the bottom left, and then at a facility at Stephen Crane Village Apartments. There were outposts in several schools, and there was also a municipal library and city hall at one time. The Springfield branch was the first of Newark's city-owned branch libraries when it opened in 1923. It was known as the Foreign Branch because it offered books in many languages and provided increased community services. The same year, the Van Buren branch was completed in the Ironbound, and it was followed by the Clinton branch in 1925 and Vailsburg in 1927. In 1929, the Weequahic branch opened, and in 1930, the North End branch was completed. Increased demand brought about the construction of the Branch Brook branch in 1966. Today, 7 branches continue to serve Newarkers. The Newark Public Library was one of the first institutions to offer programs such as story times and games for preschool children. During the summers, story hours were held in parks or in branch library gardens. Other offerings included arts and crafts, reading clubs, and book talks. Each city-owned branch had a separate room for children. In 1962, a professional storyteller was added to children's programs, as well as Spanish-speaking storytellers in 1970. The library continues to offer fun and interesting programs, which encompass cooking, crafts, and movies, and often partners with other organizations to provide education, art, and drama workshops. Additionally, the annual Summer Reading Challenge addresses literacy by encouraging children to read. The Newark Public Library maintains a collection of more than 1.5 million books. It also holds audio and visual materials and unique collections of prints, photographs, and historical documents. The library continues to serve as a congressionally designated depository for U.S. government documents and offers many specialized departments: the James Brown African American Room, the Sala Hispanoamericana, the Special Services Room, the Charles F. Cummings New Jersey Information Center, the New Jersey Hispanic Research and Information Center, the Special Collections Division, and the LGBTQ Resource Room. The library was designated a New Jersey Literary Landmark in 2002. John Condana emphasized that libraries exist in order to serve the public, and libraries are owned by the citizens. He believed that libraries should promote reading and learning, and that citizens need access to this information. Libraries play an important role in the economic vitality of their community, and they must reinvent themselves to best serve the public. The Newark Public Library serves and enriches Newark's residents and visitors by offering exhibits, cultural programs, classes, reference service, computer access, Wi-Fi, and many other programs, all free of charge. I hope that you've enjoyed learning about the history of the library and the ways that the library continues to serve Newarkers. Please know you can always visit us on our website, npl.org, and we are available for you 24/7 to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.